Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Giovani Nicasia. I'm a real estate attorney. I've been an attorney in South Florida almost 26 years now, which is freaking crazy. Um, I know telecom goes Supreme Telescrow. And literally since October, we've been doing classes 2 or 3 times a week on different topics, trying to bring things that are going to help you with your business. And today I have Brian Millo from EXP Realty speaking. Brian does a lot of coaching, a lot of teaching, a lot of speaking, and he's been doing real estate for a long time and does amazing. So I thought he'd be a great person to have speak today. We had him one time before, and it was truly one of the best classes we had, honestly. So definitely want Brian to speak again. So Brian, how are you doing today? How's everything going?
Good, good. Enjoying this weather. My grass definitely appreciate all the water today. When you asked me to reach out, I think this is something that I've been wanting to put together. And first of all, thank you for the introduction. While you were introducing me, it actually brought me back to one thing, one quality that I noticed that you have in your industry, and is tenacity, man, and discipline. I've been seeing in the almost 9 years that I've been doing real estate, something that I can say about you and your company is that you haven't stopped, man. The discipline, especially with these classes. I've seen a lot of title companies and other sides of the industry trying to come up with something different, but they're not consistent. And the fact that you've been doing this for a little while says a lot about yourself and your discipline. So kudos to you, man.
Kind of what you're going to talk about today, I'm sure, but that's regardless of what business you're in, you got to be consistent. I mean, if you do something for a month, yeah, you might get a call or two, but doing it for a year, it's probably going to change your life, So
Yep.
same with your real estate. I mean, whether it's social media, whether it's door knocking, whether it's phone calls, if you do it over a long period of time, it's going to work. It's got to work. So.
And that's why you and your brand has been around in the South Florida industry for a while. Everybody knows Giovani, everybody knows Supreme Title and Escrow. So because of the consistency, for sure. The value, but also more than anything, is consistency over time. So the topic of today is, why are you not growing your real estate business? And I would like to start with a quick story that can serve as an analogy. It's October of 2022. I'm in a boat with like another maybe 12 people. We are heading to open waters. I'm going scuba diving. It's like my third, fourth time that I've been scuba diving after I got certified. Have anybody drop in the chat if you are certified for scuba diving, if you've done it before? So there you go. Cesar raised his hand. Drop in the chat if you've done it. So if you've done it, you know that it takes obviously a certification. You need to get trained on different stuff. How to put the equipment, how to put a tank. You got to learn the science. You need it because if you think about it, it's a life that skill. You're going to be underwater. Anything can happen down there. So it's like 12 of us. Again, it's not the first time that I go scuba diving, but the only difference in this particular dive is that I'm going to be diving with sharks. Have anybody have dived with sharks before? One thing is like being down there and maybe encounter one shark or two sharks away from you. But we're gonna be diving with sharks. That's the intention. So we're in the boat. As you know, you sit down. For those of you that have done it, you put your tank, you put your mask. It's like 60, 80 pounds tank, I believe it is. I don't know. And the way that you jump is just let yourself go back. As I start descending with the group, I noticed that my mask start getting foggy and it start coming down. If you've done it before, if you have experience, you know that there's a way to clean your mask even down there under the water. But the thing is that it's been a little while that I've scuba dived. So I don't remember the way. I know that there's a way, but I don't remember the way. But I'm afraid also to try it, but we're still coming down. I'm afraid to try it because the way that you try it, it's like you can get water. And what's worse than a foggy mask? A mask full of water while scuba diving 90 meters down with dozens of sharks. So I start panicking. It gets to a point that my mask is almost fully foggy. Only one corner it's open and I can see. Down there I start seeing the sharks around me. Guess what? I start freaking out. I see the sharks coming in and out. I'm afraid, so I get closer to my scuba guy. He noticed that I start getting nervous. I don't even know how to do proper signals, but he noticed that I'm scared. So down there, he just called me down, give me instructions on how to do it. The way that you do it is you lift your mask, and then you breathe out some oxygen, let the oxygen gets in your mask, and then you lift up your mask a little bit on the top and let the oxygen come out. And you can get a full clean mask without water, even 90, 100 meters down waters. So he teach me, he gave me the instructions down there. I try it, and I can see now. I have a full clean mask, and I can see the sharks. I'm still freaking out because they're sharks first time, but at least I can see them, right? I can see them clearly. I start going around, getting comfortable around the sharks. We did 2 dives in that trip, I remember, for 2 hours. I get so comfortable that at some point the diving guide gets closer to one shark that is sleeping at the bottom of the waters and start petting the shark. I'm right next to the guide and I ask him through signals, can I do it? And he said yes. And I actually touched a shark, a huge one, that he was sleeping. It went from me freaking out at the beginning to now I'm down there following sharks around and petting them. So the moral of this story is that I realized, once I reflect on it, that 3 things needed to happen, and those 3 things can happen in anything that you do in life. 1, you need instructions. You need to know how to clean your mask. If you don't know how to clean your mask, it will have been a completely different story for me. You need this instructor to teach you the instructions, because without the instructor, it's just information. So I had the instructor that point out, gave me the instructions, and I could done it. But not only that, I needed courage. The 3rd thing will be courage. It doesn't matter if I didn't have the instructions, I didn't have the instructor. I needed to make the decision myself that I was gonna try it and do it. And no matter what, I was gonna do it, even if I was down there 90, 100 meters down. Those 3 factors, guys, can apply for anything that you do, especially in real estate. As instructions, what I call instructions, and one of the reasons why I see after talking to hundreds of agents and coaching a good amount of them, is that a lot of agents don't understand the instructions at all. They don't understand how the business works. Most of us, we think that we understand the business. I've been doing this for almost 9 years. I've closed more than 400 transactions myself. I have 35 agents in my downline with DXP. Truly, I tell you that it's a very small group that really understand real estate. And some people, they think they have instructions, but they have the wrong instructions. Whenever I'm explaining real estate to a new agent, I like to explain the basic concept that there's only 2 ways to get business in real estate: the active way and the passive way. The active way is the one where you go out and look for the business. That can be prospecting. It could be door knocking. It could be doing open houses. You are physically moving yourself and doing an activity to get business. That's the active way. The good thing about the active way is that it doesn't require much resources. It doesn't require money. It requires a lot of your time, energy, and efforts. Can we agree? The other one is passive. The passive way is where you can attract the business. Any type of marketing that you do. You can pay for mailing, social media ads. You can have a billboard with your picture. There's so many ways where you can buy leads through silos. There's so many different ways where you can put yourself in an environment where the business comes to you. That's a passive way. Now, the downside with the passive one versus the active one is that it has a price. You have to pay for a lot of this market. What I'm telling you right now is very basic. Now, generating the business doesn't require the same skill as converting the business. I can be very good at prospecting or getting myself in front of a leads, either through passive or active. But if I don't know how to convert the business, then I'm not able to close, then I'm not able to eat, then I quit real estate. Once you understand that, it's that you get to know what sources you want to tackle and make it simple and digestible for you. That reminds me of a story of an agent back when I started real estate that he came to the office out of nowhere and started doing a lot of marketing. And I remember like now, one of the things I did, he bought a truck, I don't know, a $20,000 truck. And he wrapped the entire truck with his face. I see the truck, he put it in the parking. I was wow, because I was new in the business. I'm like seeing this guy doing so much marketing. And in the truck, he said, if you to buy a property with me, you can use the truck to move. It's a great marketing piece. He invested a lot. So I can't remember that far, but I've seen that, stuff like that too. But he bought a truck, he wrapped it up in there. Now, if you ask me, I haven't seen that truck around and I haven't seen that agent around either. He invested probably a good amount of money. He went the passive way. He probably got a lot of calls because he made a lot of noise. If you're gonna go the passive way, you're looking to make a lot of noise in your local area, right? But it doesn't matter if you make the noise, if you get the calls. If you don't know how to convert that business and you're not consistent, then it won't get you anywhere. Like, again, I haven't seen that agent around in a long time. So you gotta be aware of that. So when I mean conversion is, you gotta be very good and intentional in knowing what to say and how to say it. One of the easiest ways in our business to practice that is by role playing. That's the only way that you get better with your scripts, which is gonna get you better to convert the business. Why it's important to role play your scripts? I wasn't a role player myself at the beginning. I used to tell myself so many stories and tell me I don't wanna sound robotic. I don't wanna sound like it's not myself and this and that. But what if we are in front of the same lead and the same person asks you and asks me, what is your commission? If you're just saying, yeah, 6% and you're gonna improvise it, if I'm a master at my script and I know exactly what to say to get that appointment, guess who's gonna get the appointment? Guess who's gonna get that lead? Role playing, that's what helps you with conversion. One of the easiest ways, simplest way to help you with conversion. Because again, one thing is knowing how to generate the business, another thing is knowing how to convert the business. I want you to think when it comes to, I'm touching guys, the part of instructions. I divided this in three: instructions, the instructor, and the courage, as I explained in my story. If you're taking notes, I want you to write down IPA, income producing activities. IPA. A lot of agents, when they start and when they go through their journey with real estate, they don't get awareness on what are those income producing activities. Some agents, they know exactly what are those, but they don't want to do it. But what do you think are those income producing activities?
Following up on leads.
Going out to hand out your flyers, like maybe door knocking, and then following up with them by mail just to confirm that they received what you gave, just interacting.
Any activity that exposes you to leads where you're in front of them, those are income producing activities. A simple way to put it that a lot of you probably know, it's PLAN, plan. Prospecting, lead follow-up, appointments, and negotiating deals. That's the core of the business. That's your only job as a real estate agent. That's the only job. But we get stuck into preparing flyers, we get stuck into posting on social media, which all of those activities, there's nothing wrong with that. These are the 4 activities that get you paid. These are the activities that worth your time, that produce the income for you and your family. Prospecting, being exposed to leads, leads follow-up, making sure that you convert those leads. Some of you already said that. Going on appointments. If you don't go on appointments, if you don't make appointments, there's nothing to close. And negotiate deals. That's essential. When we get lost into the social media and posting here and preparing the flyer and making sure that our picture is nice for the business card and all this noise around that, that's your IPA. That's your income producing activity. So I gave you like the very, very basic, the essence when it comes down to instructions that a lot of agents, they're not aware of. But that is as simple as that. Now, instructor. What do you think I mean when I say instructor? What is an instructor when it comes to real estate? When I was diving, the instructor was the dive instructor that guided me through to clean my mask so I could see. I could literally see the sharks around me. So the instructor in real estate, it could be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be a team leader, it could be that person, that someone that can help you clean your mask like it did to me so you can see clear.
With you, Brian.
There you go. Thank you, Nikki. That's what I'm doing here. I'm helping you clean your mask so you can see more clear. So coach, a mentor, team leader, I'm not saying, oh, it has to be this particular coach. It has to be this particular coaching program. It can have different titles. And I'm not telling you all of this to sell myself as a coach or anything like that. It's just that there has to be someone giving you the instructions. A lot of us rely on the free information, which is good. There's a lot of free information out there. But this instructor that I'm talking about needs to be someone that can bring more clarity to your particular business. There's a difference. And that's the part, in my opinion, where most agents get lost. The question is, or become, who is the right instructor? That's another misconception. If you're not into real estate, you start thinking that the person that's been doing this the longer. Well, I challenge that thinking. Don't look at time, look at track record by production. Let the numbers talk by itself. It's nice for me to say that I'm almost a decade into real estate, and I'm only 31 years old. There's nothing wrong with the longevity in the business. It's amazing, like any other industry. But if you're looking for an instructor, somebody that teaches you, don't look at time, or not only time. It has to be backed up out of production. Because what are we looking to do in real estate? Increase production. Because this is a numbers business. So whenever you're looking for that instructor, make sure that it's somebody that has sold real estate in high volume. And unfortunately, a lot of the times, we get plugged in our offices or by our friend just because somebody wants to teach you and serve you as that mentor just because they have been licensed longer than you, which is a good thing. They want to help you. But make sure that the person that you want to take advice from is somebody with a track record with production, not only with experience or time in the industry. Listen to people that specialize in the particular thing or niche that you want to specialize. There's so many ways to do business in real estate. You have prospecting, door knocking, networking events, open houses. There's so many of them. Make sure that you listen to the person that specializes in the thing that you want to specialize and want to work on. I myself, I'm not a cold caller. I can teach you a lot of stuff about prospecting. I can teach you a lot of stuff about scripts. It wasn't the way that I built my business from. There's more people that specialize that I can point out that can help you more when it comes to cold calling, expiry listings, Facebooks. Now, you want to talk about open houses? I can teach you a lot of good stuff about open houses. I've done more than 100 open houses myself. You want to talk about how to put investment deals? I can teach you how to put investment deals together. If you want to find that instructor that can help you with your particular business, don't be naive. The right instructor with the right instructions will cost you something. And this is coming from somebody that procrastinated coaching, mentorship for a while. The first 4 years of my career was a big struggle for me. If I have to dive in, and the reason why, it's because I try to figure it out myself. I didn't look for any type of mentorship or coaching. Once I find that instructor with the right instructors, my business took off. But it cost you. Once you find that person that you're like, wow, I can learn from that person, don't come and say, oh, let me take them for a coffee. Those ones that are at the highest level, I'm gonna be very clear to you, very frank and truthful, they're not interested in your coffee money. A lot of people, they wanna share their experience. But those high producers, it comes with a cost. And it doesn't have to be necessarily with a monetary exchange that you have to pay them for coaching. That's one way. But let me give you an example that happens often and I've been doing for a little while. I put together a lot of investment deals. I work with an investment company, and some agents come to me and say, I wanna learn how to put investment deals together. So I want to learn how to flip properties. I want to learn how to find investment deals, wholesales. Well, there's two ways to do it. Pay somebody that is offering some sort of coaching that has the track record, because there's a lot of out there that they don't have the track record with the numbers. They flip one property and they're already creating a course and teaching how to flip. But the other way is bring a deal. Prospect, find a deal, and trust me, if you bring a deal, they're gonna give you their attention. So you have to come back with some sort of value. Great coaches, great guides, great mentors don't want your coffee money. And then courage. You found the right instructor, you found the right instructions. Still take courage to make the decision and take action. You don't need motivation. What you need is discipline. Motivation gets you started. Discipline is what gets you going. 80% of agents, newly newly licensed agents quit real estate by the second year. When I heard that the first time, I was like, nah, impossible. That's a lot of people. 8 out of 10 of people quit real estate by the second year. This business that is so lucrative, nah. But then when I came to my second year, third, fourth, that I was in my office prospecting, and even after all my frustrations, and even after getting through almost quitting real estate myself, it wasn't until I noticed and sit down and start thinking the amount of people that I saw coming in and out of the industry while I stick to the prospecting, while I stick to my income producing activities. They got in, they got licensed, they were motivated for one reason or another, they were indisciplined, and they're no longer doing real estate. I told you that I've recently been in contact with a lot of agents. As a matter of fact, if you want to drop in the chat the amount of years have you been licensed or doing real estate for, drop it in the chat. There you go. We have 2 months. Continue. I want to see that. 3 months, 8 months, 23 years. We had a winner there. Thank you, Bruno. 4 months, 2 months, 7 months, 3 years, 6 months. You see what I mean? 3 months, 5 months. It's a lot of people here. 2 years. There's a lot of people here. They haven't even passed their first year doing real estate. So when I tell you this stat that 80%, I don't want to disencourage you guys, but 8 out of every 10 people in this call, by next year, of all those people that haven't reached the first year, probably won't be doing real estate. That's exactly why I wanted to put this together, to bring the clarity, to clean your mask, so you can see clear what I'm saying. I'm gonna say that again, not because you didn't hear me, but because it's true. Motivation only gets you started. Discipline is what gets you going.
One person asked how to increase prospecting when your network is small.
Probably that person that is asking the question maybe was born in the US, went to school, elementary, middle school, high school, and grew up here. So probably the person asking the question maybe have had way more relationships than I had when I started real estate. I was raised in the Dominican Republic. I moved to this country in 2015, which was the year that I started real estate. So to answer the question, how do you close more business if you have a small group? Meet more people. You have to meet more people. Even until this day, I intentionally put myself in places where I'm meeting more people all the time. So you have to build that network of people. When I moved to this country, that I got my license, that I made the decision, okay, I want to do real estate, but I don't know anybody, because all my family are still in the Dominican Republic. I'm the only one in my family here in the US. I need to close deals, and it takes people to close deals. I need to meet people. The only people that I knew was my wife's family, and guess what? Her stepfather is a real estate agent. So forget that side of the database. What I quickly did was I joined to a Bible study in my church. I joined a dodgeball club. I joined a kickball club, sports, sign up for a gym. Anywhere that had a group of people where I just started interacting with people and adding in my social media and going out, that's what I did. It took time, but I can tell you that from all of these groups that I joined, I've closed business. From that Bible study, I can, even until this day, in January, I closed with a couples friend of mine that I met at that Bible study almost 10 years ago when I joined. I was genuinely interested in building relationships. So if you have a small group, make that group bigger by being intentional and meeting more new people.
Yeah, you just got to get out there and meet people. Like, actually, I know one realtor, and this is what she actually owned a house, and she sold it to move into like a luxury condo on Los Olas, just to meet people, because she said, hey, if those people can afford $5,000 a month rent, they could afford to buy. So she actually moved into the luxury condo and rented just to meet people. And I know for a fact I've closed like a few $1 million deals from people she met in the building that ended up buying.
Yeah.
So there's it's just, yeah,
you have to put yourself out there for sure.
And another thing I personally think is real estate events, but maybe not the local ones, but if, like for instance, every August the Florida Realtors Association has an event in Orlando. Try to meet realtors from other areas, build relationships with them, and hopefully try to get referrals. For instance, Brian, Darnell, he does those like the YPN with the Keller Williams. He goes all over the country to different YPNs, meets different realtors from all over the country, builds friendships with them, and of course, if they know somebody in Florida, they refer it to them. So there are a lot.
100%. That is so valuable what you just said. There's a lot of business being transacted out of referrals from agents from out of town. I've closed a lot of them too. There's agents that specialize in that, and the way that they do it is they just go to those events outside of your area, and it doesn't have to be in another states. Literally, if you live in Palm Beach, most likely you won't be doing business in Miami Beach. It might be too far from you. So go to events in Miami Beach, drive 2 hours or an hour and a half, go to those events, and most likely you get referrals from there. I made a lot of relationships. I just like to interact with people. And when I switched and I started the coaching part of my business with EXP, it was just natural that I already knew people. You gotta make it genuine too. If it's agents or if it's clients, you gotta build those relationships in a genuine way too. People can smell when you have the commission breath.
And it goes both ways too. Like, if you have clients who, build relationships with people in other areas. So if you have clients, you refer to them. Like I know one realtor, she just told me she referred a client to a realtor in Orlando, and she just, got a check for that, where she just didn't have to do nothing at all, just send it over there. And, she got a check. So instead of losing business if people buying in other areas, and let people know that, hey, even if you're not buying in South Florida, I have like a network of realtors I work with or whatever who will take care of you. And, refer them out and hopefully get some money that way too.
Yes, 100%.
I like to simplify concepts. Think about the instructions, the instructor, and the courage. The courage part is not only motivation, it's also discipline more than anything. Let's say that you find the formula, you find the instructor that is giving you the right instructions, and you make the decision that you want to take this serious. I'm going to show you 5 different personality traits that we all have. We may have 1, 2, 3, or may have all of them. And these are the personality traits that prevents us from scaling our real estate business. Staller, people that just stall on making decisions. They know what they need to do. Let's say I'm this instructor today. I gave you the instructions, but you stall. You don't take action. Those are the people that you get an invoice today and you know that you gotta pay it, but you just let it sit there. It's not gonna pay by itself. You gotta take action. The second personality trait is the speed demon. The speed demon is the one that makes decisions too fast. There's a lot of us that start with that one CRM, then we hear another person talking about another CRM and the success that they're having, and they're like, oof, maybe that's the answer, and then change another CRM. And then we get a call from CeeLo, yeah, this is CeeLo Premier. Just wanted to let you know that we can serve you and give you leads and stuff. And then we sign up for CeeLo, and we do this, open houses, cold calling, and we're like all over the place. And we don't stick to one thing. We just make decisions too fast. We make changes too fast. You have the supervisor. Let's say that you get business, and I'm telling you as your instructor, Rover, Laura, Anna, I want you to hire a transaction coordinator, and you make the decision. You're like, let me listen to Brian, and you hire them. Well, some of you supervise. You're still managing the transaction. You're still dedicating that time and energy, and that's still being time consuming, something that you shouldn't be spending time on. The other and the fourth personality trait is the saver. The saver is the one that doesn't invest on their business because of the scarcity mentality. The other personality traits, and the last one, is the self-medicator. That's the one that closes one transaction and goes on vacation. You're not treating your business with the intentionality that it should. So those are the 5 personality traits that us real estate agents have that prevents us from scaling. Some of us stall making decisions. Some of us make decisions too fast. Some of us, when we leverage ourselves, we supervise. I hire an assistant, but I look at everything that she does. Some of us, we save. That's what we think we're doing. When we need to invest to expand. And some others self-medicate. I make the money, now let me spend it.
5 is the one I see the most realtors. They get a deal, they close, and they disappear instead of just keeping on going. I mean, that's what you said. Like once you get a deal, you really need to start working on your next deal. And I just don't, it's crazy how I don't see that. It's like,
It is crazy, and it's unfortunate because that's the beauty of real estate, that it's a very lucrative business. In one deal you can make, now the average commission down here, I mean, you probably know more than me, it's $10,000-$15,000 compared to the average price point here in South Florida. So that's way more than that any average person makes in a job. And that's just one deal, and they start bowling. So for those of you, I see a lot of people 2, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months in real estate, don't self-medicate. You might have a closing this month, but the next one is not guaranteed. It took me 6 months to close my very first real estate transaction. And that first year, I only closed that one transaction. I was an immigrant coming with absolutely no relationships. If you were born here and you have a relationship from high school, if you're new in the industry, those are the first people that I suggest you reach out and let them know that you're doing real estate. It got to a point that I figured it out, I connected with the right people, I started being successful, I started making the money, but I got stuck. Just to give you a reference what I'm saying, in 2020, I closed 48 transactions as a single agent. I don't have a team. In 2021, I closed 50 transactions. Barely any growth, from 48 to 50. And if you've been in real estate long enough, those were very good years, 2020 and 2021. but I was doing everything myself. I didn't even have a transaction coordinator. What I'm telling you now that you should be doing it, I wasn't doing myself back then. I didn't know better. Imagine if you have 1 or 2 or 3 deals at the same time and you're getting crazy, imagine having 7, 8 deals at the same time and coordinating everything. Inspections, appraisal, photography, repairs, closing, all the conversations around it. I was doing everything myself. And of course, it translated in number. 48 transactions one year, 50 transactions the next one. Guess what? I got a coach. He helped me build system. I hired an assistant, hired a transaction coordinator. The next year, 60-something transactions. I drop in the chat a link if you want to check it out. If you want to sign up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, even better. But check that one. In that class, we were talking about scaling. We went deeper in what I'm telling you right now. If you find this any interesting, go on that link maybe after the call later and check it out. Very good material. We went down and explained the process of scaling. I told you, transaction coordinator. It gets to a point where you shouldn't be answering the calls from the MLS. Somebody else should be answering those calls for you. You shouldn't be the one inputting the information on the MLS. That takes time. And that time is time that you can be productive in trying to get more business. You shouldn't be going to your photographies. You shouldn't be going to your showings if you're working with buyers. You shouldn't be going to your appraisals. Some people that close a lot of real estate transactions, they don't go to their closings. But there's levels. There's a lot of misconceptions, guys. And I want you to be clear how these very, very high top producers, were people that close 30, 40, 50, 100 real estate transactions. These are the things that they do. These are the things that they have to give Bob. These are the systems that they have to build to be able to scale and be able to bring that volume. I wouldn't be able to do 60 transactions a year if I were to be the one going on all the showing for all my buyers. I wouldn't, period. When you add up all that time, equals to a lot of hours in a week. So in that video, we talk more in details about that. Check it out, and if you have any questions, reach out. So that's about scaling. I wanted to give you the basics and the hard truth. Guys, write this down. The truth will set you free, but it'll piss you off first. I'm just giving you the hard truth that I learned the hard way. I was at a point that I almost quit myself. I was gonna be one of the stacks in my 4th year. 80% of agents, newly licensed agents, quit real estate by the 2nd year. Almost did. But it wasn't until I got intentional with my real estate business.
Yeah, if you want to post your Instagram link.
Sure, yes.
Yeah,
awesome. I also have very good shorts on Instagram too that you can check out too.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention, like Brian mentioned it, who I guess his coach, I don't know if he still is or was his coach. And what I see, like a lot of realtors, they don't treat real estate as a business. And, the person who was Brian's coach, like I remember him when he first became, he actually went to college to be a realtor, which not many people do. Like he actually went to college. Aaron. Yeah. He was at Keller Williams and he had an office there. He'd come to work every day in a suit. He'd go in there, close the door. He'd make cold calls every morning, literally from let's say 8 to noon. He would set up appointments in the afternoon. He'd go meet with them, sign them up, and then and he was working with his wife. He'd hand it over to his wife, and she would like input and do everything. The rest of like kind of like having someone, and literally every day, like it was almost like he was a ghost. Like you didn't even know he existed. But and next thing you know, he's got like over 100 listings at one time. I mean. But he treated it like a business. I mean, and that's what a lot of realtors don't do. They don't treat it as a business. And I think the people that do are successful because it is a business. And it's a business you can make a lot of money at, if you're consistent, if you're focused, if you don't give up quick. But the amount, like Brian said, like just, one, just a simple deal, you're making over 10 grand. Imagine doing one a month. And that's, not too hard to accomplish,
100%. 100%. And
as an agent that I was successful before even getting to coach with Aaron, he's my business coach, but I was doing 50 transactions. I need to get in proximity with somebody that is doing more than me. How many people around me do you think that I have that are making those numbers as single agents? Not many, but I had to get in proximity with somebody that is doing higher than me. It's the only way. If you want to get in shape, don't go and take advice from the person that is overweight. Just using the same example that the person overweight doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the physical certifications to give instructions. But you want to be in proximity with somebody that have done what they're showing you for you to do. If I want to get to 100 transactions, which is what Aaron got. He did 100 transactions as a solo agent, not as a team, for more than 10 years in a row. Twice, he did 200 transactions as a solo agent. I don't know anybody else in this market or any other market that have accomplished those numbers. That was my instructor. And that's what I'm telling you that you should be doing too. Find the instructor, it could be anybody, but that it has the track record of that thing that you want to accomplish. You gotta get in proximity with somebody that is doing at least 20 transactions. Don't go to the person that is doing 5. They're still figuring it out like you are.
I see actually a lot of real estate office. They have the people who they make them to be like the coach of the office, and they do no business or have never done business. And it blows my mind how that's who they appoint to do the coaching. And
Yes.
as I think Brian said, you need to find someone who has a track record, someone who's actually doing business, who's done business before, who's like sometimes people tell me this person's my coach, and I'm like, has that person ever even closed a deal in their life?
And it's unfortunate.
I don't want to talk bad about offices, but it's unfortunate. You know what happens? And I know that because I was one of them. I was teaching classes. I don't know if you remember that, Giovanni. In one of my previous offices, one of the reasons why they put me as an instructor in the office and to teach office is just because I was in the office and I was just doing the work. I barely had any production. I barely closed any business. And all of a sudden, I'm the one teaching other agents. Yes, there might be something that I'm able to teach to those newer agents, but I'm not in the quality to talk about prospecting. I'm not in the quality to talk about how to sell real estate in high volume. I wasn't. And some offices, unfortunately, the leadership team broker just put someone that is just willing and able to do the job. It doesn't matter the production, it doesn't matter if it's good or not, just, okay, you want to teach them, and then offers that as some sort of productivity. That's the hard truth. I was too direct with you guys today is because I care, and I care because I learned the hard way. Like, if I were to know or had somebody explaining all of this to me years ago, I would have accomplished what I accomplished in literally at least half the time, period. I would have needed somebody to tell me straightforward, the same way that I'm telling you, how things work.
How to find coaches?
To find coaches, there's a lot of them out there. Regardless if it's us, if it's somebody else, just take in consideration what I told you about the track record. Look at the numbers. Don't be afraid to ask. Just to give you an example, and I know that we didn't schedule this call to sell myself, but for example, I have coaching products. The only one that I'm offering right now, it's a group coaching call, but it's in Spanish. It's a weekly call. You can pay for that service. Now, through EXP, which is the brokerage that I'm part of, which it has splits like any other brokerage, we offer a lot of coaching for free just by the simple reason of joining under my organization. So you can get free coaching, but that free coaching, it's with the condition of joining the organization. Aaron, for example, if part of my organization is my coach, he is a business coach. He has coaching products that people pay for them, hundreds of thousands, some of them thousands of dollars. But he made it available for free if you join the organization on EXP. What I'm saying is there's always a cost, there's always a price. The question is, are you willing to pay it? Or which one are you willing to pay?
How do we know if the coach is actually closing deals? I think you could actually look up people in the MLS, can't you?
You can definitely do that. That's the easiest way too. You can look at data. Any agent, you go to, there's a tab on the MLS, I can't remember what it's called now, but you can look at their production by name. You go, look my first name, last name, and you can see their production by year, by month, year to date, whatever you want to look at. That's the easiest way. Even Zillow, a lot of the listings are public information. You go to my Zillow and you see that I sold, I don't know, it says 9 properties until this day, 100 and something, not all the information gets pulled in Zillow, but there's a lot of ways that you can find the actual data.
I don't have the MLS. I look a lot of time at realtor.com.
You can know the coaching a lot of the times, unless you're very, very new in the industry, just by the content that they're putting out. If it's somebody that just by looking at their content, it blows your mind, that might be a good coach. And another way, it's if it makes you feel uncomfortable because you know that they're saying something that is true, that's a great coach.
Someone asked, what is your advice for open houses?
The first thing that comes to mind is consistency. Don't think that by doing 1 or 2 open houses, you're gonna be successful with open houses. At the end of 2018, I set a goal to do 72 72 open houses for 2019. Some open houses I had 50 people through the door. Some others I didn't have one person through the door. So it's a numbers game. If you're gonna choose to go the open house path, you gotta do a lot of them in consistency. What is your system around the open houses? The misconception is open house is just going and open the door and sitting down and wait for people. No, most of the work when it comes to open houses is advertising the open house prior to the open house. Whenever I was doing open houses, I was doing door knocking the day before, at least 50 doors, letting people know and the neighbors that I was doing an open house the next day. I was cold calling throughout the week prior to the open house. Let's say the open house was on a Saturday. I was calling every day. Hey, I wanted to invite you to these open houses. A lot of cold calling. Your neighbor is selling their house. I want to invite you to the open house. It's going to be on Saturday. By the way, do you know anybody that would like to buy that house? Are you in the market to sell in yours? Calling and inviting people. I put a lot of directional signs the date of the open house. If you're starting doing open house, get the $3 signs. Put a lot of those. Once you see yourself that you're going to be serious about open houses, invest in your business and buy the customized directionals with your picture, your phone number, your name in big that serve as marketing too. Door knocking, directional, cold calling, social media, all of these things just to advertise the open house. That's how it works. Just take in consideration 3 things. They only take 3 things to be able to have a breakthrough and a change. Anything that you want to change in your life. Your physical health, relationships, your marriage, your business, anything in your life. It takes awareness, and that awareness can be somebody else looking at you through the outside. Coach and mentor somebody else, pointing something out that you're not seeing. You have to be aware that there's something that needs to change. Second thing, it's intentionality. You have to be intentional. And that's where the discipline comes. Not motivation. Motivation is temporary. And the last one is accountability. You have to surround yourself and be in proximity with people that can hold you to higher standards. There has to be people. You can have the awareness, you can be motivated and have the intentionality. I'm aware I need to make a change. I'm going to make the change by doing this, and this. But if you don't have those people or that person in your life that can shake you whenever you're falling off track, then there's not going to be any change.
Someone asked, what is your advice for open houses?
The first thing that comes to mind is consistency. Don't think that by doing 1 or 2 open houses, you're going to be successful with open houses. At the end of 2018, I set a goal to do 72 open houses for 2019. Some open houses I had 50 people through the door. Some others I didn't have one person through the door. So it's a numbers game. If you're gonna choose to go the open house path, you gotta do a lot of them in consistency. What is your system around the open houses? The misconception is open house is just going and open the door and sitting down and wait for people. No, most of the work when it comes to open houses is advertising the open house prior to the open house. Whenever I was doing open houses, I was doing door knocking the day before, at least 50 doors, letting people know and the neighbors that I was doing an open house the next day. I was cold calling throughout the week prior to the open house. Let's say the open house was on a Saturday. I was calling every day. Hey, I wanted to invite you to these open houses. A lot of cold calling. Your neighbor is selling their house. I want to invite you to the open house. It's going to be on Saturday. By the way, do you know anybody that would like to buy that house? Are you in the market to sell in yours? Calling and inviting people. I put a lot of directional signs the date of the open house. If you're starting doing open house, get the $3 signs. Put a lot of those. Once you see yourself that you're going to be serious about open houses, invest in your business and buy the customized directionals with your picture, your phone number, your name in big that serve as marketing too. Door knocking, directional, cold calling, social media, all of these things just to advertise the open house. That's how it works.
Yeah, and like Brian said, you got to be consistent. Don't, think just if you do 1 or 2, if you don't get a great turnout, you get discouraged, you stop. Of course, it's not gonna work. You just gotta, and the truth is all it takes is one person that walks in that could really, that's all it takes. You have 20 and they don't buy, but if you have one that buys, that's all you need. Like for instance, one time I remember I did a class. I was supposed to do a class for this big group of people. I spent all this money on lunch and everything like that. 2 people showed up, and honestly, I was so disappointed. This was probably like 7 years ago. Until this day, I do business with those 2 people. I think probably the fact that it was less people was probably better because I actually got to interact more with them and build a relationship with them than if it was a group of people where you couldn't get to talk to anybody. So
exactly.
Don't get discouraged. That could be your opportunity.
That's how you should see it. Exactly what you just said, Giovanni. I tell people all the time, even if you do all these crazy marketing, all this time and effort door knocking, and only one person show up, and you get to convert that lead into a buyer or seller, was it worth it? Of course it was worth it. Forget about the number and the amount of traffic after you do your part. That doesn't depend on you.
Yeah, and there was one other question, I believe. Hang on. Robert asked, where's the best money or time you've spent on marketing?
A tricky question. So many ways. I would tell you all of them work, but you just gotta be consistent. When it comes to marketing in the passive way, I tell people, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna send mailings for the next couple of weeks. No, you have to commit to a plan of 3, 5, 6 months, maybe a year of mailing in a specific neighborhood. And any marketing that you implement, it has to be a significant budget. If you're gonna decide on mailing, you gotta invest a decent amount, not just a couple $100. Whatever it is. Buy leads. Yeah, that works. I tell people buying lead works. I try it once, I close a deal, like it actually works. But it has to be a significant budget over time. But not only that, because we already said it, you can be very good prospecting, you can be very good and have the money passive. If you don't know how to convert the business, it doesn't matter if I put the business in front of you. Work on your conversion. If you're a newer agent, whoever asked that, I recommend work on your conversion first. Role play groups, know your scripts before even investing in any marketing. I invest a lot on my social media, and you'll see it if you follow me on social media and you go to my YouTube channel. That's for me. I've done a lot of different things. It's the one that I think it has a lot of power. So check out my content and you'll see why. I get to convert a lot of business through social media.
I personally think social, but once again, being consistent and, posting on everything, post on TikTok, post on Instagram, post on Facebook, because you never know who's going to be looking. I mean, literally, I got a deal last week from a girl, a buyer who saw her video from Texas, and they're under contract here from a TikTok video with a person in Texas. I closed a deal about a month ago from someone from Oklahoma, saw the person on Instagram. Out-of-state buyers do see these things you're posting. You may not realize it, and you never know. Something you post can catch somebody's eye and get them to call. Post deals. Bro, I know you post deals. Every single property she posted was like between $2 and $5 million. Not many of us know people who could buy those properties. I mean, if I look at my phone, I know 1 or 2 people that could buy a property like that. So as me, why would I be posting that? But if you're posting, good deals, you're posting flips, short sales, you're posting foreclosures, you're posting multifamily, you're posting your Airbnbs, your phone's going to ring. That's the key, to get them to ring. And then even if they don't buy that property, maybe find something else for me. But now at least you have a potential client. Not only that, over time, once you start getting enough subscribers, you start getting enough views, you can monetize. And not only are you getting potential real estate clients, you're also getting money from YouTube now each month. It's powerful. You go on a listing appointment and your show's going, look, I have 100,000 subscribers. If I put your listing on my YouTube channel, this amount of people are going to see it. My personal opinion, it's powerful and it doesn't cost you any money. Nick, you said post flips, Airbnb, what else?
Content that helps your audience. If your goal is to reach buyers and sellers, post stuff for value. I don't do it like that myself, but a lot of people are misinformed how an inspection works. In your social media, somebody's thinking about selling. So you explaining the process from start to finish. Any story, any interesting real estate story that happened to you, and how you save the day by closing the deal, how you help a client getting $20,000 credit. If you're going to do it through social media, get in front of your camera, explain to your audience how you got your buyer. People can relate to that. And that's very valuable content. Try to summarize in 1 minute, which is a reel or short that social media platforms allow you. Post about deals, different type of deals, but also post about your stories, transactions, things that happen to you, how you save the day. Come out of value according to your audience. If you're looking to reach buyers and sellers, teach them on that.
If you have $500,000 in the bank right now, you could be making $2,000 a month just in interest. If you're getting a loan on a investment project, you usually put 30 to 35% down. So let's say you're putting $500,000 down. With taxes, mortgage, insurance, your payment's going to probably be over $8,000 a month. Putting $500,000 down, losing $2,000 a month, does that make any sense? To me, it looks like, why would this realtor send this to me? Look, before you send stuff out, look at it. I mean, make sure the numbers work, because that's what investors want. It's all about the numbers. If the numbers work, they're going to be interested. If you have $500,000 in the bank right now, you could be making $2,000 a month just in interest. If you have $500,000, why would you put it in something where you lose $2,000 a month?
Yes, believe it or not, there are people wondering that. Oh, I have a couple of $100,000. If you create a content that it's like, oh, if you have $100,000 or more in your bank account, you can do this with this. In the scroll down, they're going to stop and pay attention because you're reaching that specific need. And guess what? It's going to open the conversation and maybe start asking you more questions.
Robert asked, opinion on current market now and for the rest of the year.
I will be speculating like anybody else. In my opinion, I feel that don't get wishful thinking and think that things are going to change anytime soon. I feel that we're going to have to ride this wave for a little longer when it comes to interest rates. We're all-time highs because when it comes down to inflations, we're gonna be in this situation for a little while, in my opinion. Just knowing that, you just gotta pivot, make the changes that you need to be, do your part, double down. That's what I'm doing myself. I'm still in production, guys. Still selling a lot of real estate. I'm just taking more time, more efforts. There's market momentum and there's personal momentum.
Yeah, no one could really predict. Like, honestly, if you asked me in December if interest rates in June would still be high sixes, I would say no way. I thought for sure by now it had been gone down.
We were in a period of time where there was market momentum, low interest rates, a lot of dynamics in the market, a lot of money out there. But regardless of the market momentum, I'm going to create my own momentum. That's why people like Giovani been around for this long.
Yeah, and that's why this, like, sometimes you got to switch with the changes. Just think outside the box is basically what you have to do. Do what other people are not doing. Even like I said, right now with the class I'm doing, I don't think you see many attorneys out there doing classes 2 or 3 times a week on Saturdays.
They lost motivation because, they're not producing. They're only out there when there's market momentum. They're not creating their personal momentum.
Like, for instance, like me, when I first got into it, I'm not gonna lie, business was amazing. It was just deals were just coming in, interest rates were low, getting refinanced, and then, let's say, for instance, 2007, we started having like things slow down, and I started advertising for foreclosure defense, right? And I had a partner at the time, and I remember one month I spent $700 on postage, and we got in an argument about that. He thought I was wasting my money, and we ended up splitting up that November, and that's what got me through the bad times. Like, because I was kind of ahead of the curve at advertising foreclosure defense. I ended up having like, over 500 or something like that, 1,500 foreclosure defense clients. But not only that, was I representing the foreclosure defense. When they were ready to sell, I was representing the short sales.
Yes.
So almost like double dipping. So the truth is, even though a lot of people are out there, like during that period, so many title companies went out of business. But I was actually prospering because I kind of planned ahead. I said, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. And it did happen. So that's the thing. Sometimes you just got to adjust your business. Did I like going to court all the time? No. Did I like, I like the, like now I'm in my office, but if things change, I will be back in the courthouse.
But you're a very true example of that on the title side, because I remember also you started when the interest rate were good. You were doing a lot of refis too.
I think so. If you actually look online, and you could see my post, I started just exactly what you said. I started advertising 199 refinance before the interest rates even went down. And then once they started going down, oh my God, the amount of refinances I was getting. I mean, I once had an attorney call me yelling at me because I was charging too cheap.
It's like
you're messing this up for everybody. But you understand, it's a numbers game for you. The more people I bring into my office, the more I build relationship, grow my database to sell the other products. This can only serve as an attractor to me. So that's genius. And the way that you applied it to in your business line of work is the same way that applies to real estate too.
Yeah, you just got to think of things like one year. Actually, what I did one year, I remember, I started like, this is, this one, like $1 million house was a big deal. Like, let's say 2000 and maybe 17. I would in Palm Beach, seller picks title. So every time I saw a listing for $1 million, I'd reach out to the people and ask them if I could do a broker's open. And I was probably doing one a week for that year. And I got some of the pages, of course, would be loyal because I was helping them. That when they got a contract, they would use me. And that year was probably one of the best years I ever had. I mean, I was like the #1 title company in Broward County, #1 title company in, I think, Dade County, #2 in Palm Beach that year, because I had done so much business because I was, doing that basically. So you kind of think of things, to get business.
I agree with you. I don't see a lot of them anymore doing a lot of activities like you are.
All right. So thank you so much, Brian. I mean, it's been like an hour and a half. Thanks for everyone who logged in.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you guys for joining. I mean, follow me on social media. I'm going to drop it again. If you want, reach out. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help, okay?